All right, good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be here. My name is Brad Rogers, and I'm the Executive Director of the South Baltimore Gateway Partnership, an economic development authority funded by casino revenues. You know, nowadays, there's a lot of people talking about environmental justice. But for the most part, that's all they're doing. They're just talking. We're here today to celebrate not just talking, but actual, tangible, actionable action for environmental justice. Tens of millions of dollars for real change. The neighborhoods of South Baltimore have demanded action. We promised we would do something about it, and here we are. Today we're celebrating the kickoff of the Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative, the shoreline restoration arm of Reimagine Middle Branch. The MBRI is Maryland's largest coastal resiliency project, restoring more than 50 acres of wetlands around the Middle Branch of the Patapsco River. Yeah, that's right. I think that deserves some clapping. There we are. Last night, we got our final permit from the Army Corps of Engineers, which means that today, we are breaking ground and starting the construction process, bringing nature back to neighborhoods from whom it was taken away, and protecting those same neighborhoods from storms and flooding and erosion. This is going to start right across the water behind me in the neighborhood of Brooklyn at what we call the Hanover Street Wetlands. We expect construction to be complete by the fall of 2025. And that will then be followed by wetlands surrounding this very hospital, wrapping around behind me all the way up to the building over there, which should break ground at the beginning of next year. And then other sites will follow, such as the BGE Spring Gardens campus, until we've brought back the lush green landscape of South Baltimore. And it's very meaningful to get to talk about this right now, because after the profound loss of the Key Bridge, which hit our community so hard, it's incredibly heartening to be able to celebrate here with you all the beginning of a new chapter that is rooted in the profound resilience of this city. The Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative will protect our communities, will increase public access to the waterfront, and it will protect critical infrastructure from coastal flooding, from intense storm events, from erosion, and from sea level rise. With this initiative, Baltimore has become the national gold standard, leading the way for other cities. That's right. Fulfilling this promise was made possible by an unprecedented collaboration between federal, state, local, and community partners. You may recall that when last we gathered about this topic, we were celebrating $48 million in funding. We've now increased that number to an extraordinary $67 million. And this now includes $31.9 million in a FEMA grant under the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities, or BRIC program, as a subaward from the Maryland Department of Emergency Management. $3.4 million from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation through their National Coastal Resilience Fund. $3.5 million from Maryland Department of Natural Resources through their Maryland, Chesapeake, and Atlantic Coastal Bays Trust Fund. $5.1 million from Baltimore City's Department of Public Works. $6.6 million from Baltimore County, yes, Baltimore County, who shares this watershed with the city and is equally committed to its future. $5.6 million from the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, through their Transformational Habitat Restoration and Coastal Resilience grants, and most recently $10.8 million from Maryland's Department of the Environment through their Bay Restoration Fund and Comprehensive Flood Management Program. Talk about everybody coming together. Does anyone else here own a microphone? Okay. All right, with that, I am very pleased and honored to introduce Senator Ben Cardin. Steps over here.
Let's hear it for Brad Rogers. I mean, First one to go through all those names was this is really a very important moment for South Baltimore and for our community. Middle Branch is a wonderful, wonderful area. It is great waterfront, great neighborhoods, and this particular project of the wetlands and resiliency in Middle Branch, it's not only going to help the Chesapeake Bay, and it will help the Chesapeake Bay in dealing with the mitigation of pollutants, etc., but it's going to strengthen communities, give them more open space, and provide the future that we need for Baltimore. So this is really an important moment, and congratulations for all of the partnerships that you've gotten. Look, there's a lot of speakers. Why? Because this is Team Maryland, and we have a lot of partners in putting this together. It couldn't happen without the cooperation that we have. And while speaking about that, I just want to pause a moment, as I do almost every day, in regards to the tragedy on the Key Bridge. First of all, to remember the victims and to support the families of the 6 that lost their lives, but to compliment the incredible unified command. We have some of the key players with us today. Mayor Scott, thank you for what you've done in bringing the city together on this issue. County Executive Oshesky, thank you for what you have done to bring the county together. To Bill Ferguson and the state legislature, Governor Moore and the whole team, it has been a true team effort. And I really want to compliment my federal partners, the Coast Guard, the Army Corps, the Navy. You mentioned they've all been there, small businesses here again today to help. This has been Team Maryland on a horrible tragedy, but to move us forward. And we will get the port open, the channel opened a lot this month, but the end of next month it's going to be completely open. So this has been an incredible effort led by President Biden. So I really just want to compliment all the players. My partners would be here today from the federal delegation, but they have a little bit of business in Washington. The House of Representatives is voting this morning in regards to, I hope, legislation that will allow us to move forward with the supplemental appropriation bill, which is critically important for many, many reasons, not the least of which the defense of Ukraine against Russia's invasion, but also the humanitarian needs that are throughout the region. All that's in the supplemental appropriation bill, and we hope that'll get through the House by tomorrow, but the rules are being considered today. So on behalf of Kwesi Mfume, who's been the champion for these neighborhoods in the Congress of the United States and played a critical part in getting the FEMA funds, John Sarbanes, who's our leader in the House of Representatives on the environmental issues on wetland restorations, both wanted to be here but couldn't be here. And then my partner, Chris Van Hollen, who puts the money in the checkbook so we can write these checks to you all. And this is a big check. Brad, you paused on that $30-some million like it was nothing. It was big deal. Congratulations to getting those FEMA funds. Let me talk a little bit about that, because FEMA is, of course, the disaster relief agency, and we changed the ground rules in 2018 to do mitigation, to try to avoid these tragedies. And then in the infrastructure, the bipartisan infrastructure bill led by President Biden, we put in the BRIC program, which was to provide funds under FEMA to be able to prevent the type of disasters. So what are we doing here? By putting in these wetlands, we protect, and the resilient coastlines, we protect from the worst effects of climate change. President Biden's plan in regards to the Inflation Reduction Act is, yes, we want to mitigate and eliminate and be carbon neutral, but we also have to have coastal resiliency. And this is part of the coastal resiliency efforts. And it is incredible to see this, but we are your partners to make this a reality. And it's going to make a huge difference in regards to these communities and what we're doing here in this community. It's a partnership. We can't do it without the private sector. We have a lot of communities that are here. Thank you for your support. Judge Curts from the state on the environmental issues, the state of Maryland has been incredible in bringing this about. We are really proud to be your partners. We are going to be working together. We're going to continue to get you, and you got money from NOAA, you got money from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. You know, you might. There's a career for you here. I would tell you that. So we're proud to be your partners, and we're very proud to be here today. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go back. Chris Van Hollen's presiding over the Senate this morning. I have to get back there to do some voting. We have a little issue concerning the FISA courts and keeping our nation safe from terrorists. And then this weekend, we hope we also will be voting on the supplemental appropriation. So congratulations to all. I'm proud to represent you in the United States Senate.
And genuinely, thank you for making time. Next, I'd like to introduce Elana Jones, Senator Chris Van Hollen's Baltimore City Regional Director. This side.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be brief because it's cold and I took off my trench coat so you could see this jacket that I thrifted, and I am very cold up here. So everyone, as stated before, my name is Elana Jones and I'm the Baltimore City Regional Director for United States Senator Chris Van Hollen. Yes, that is a mouthful, and yes, I'm sure it's an earful to hear. As Senator Cardin already stated, due to my boss having to preside over votes in DC this morning, he could not be here. However, I would be absolutely remiss if I were not here to portray his gratitude and his thankfulness for the work that Brad Rogers and the South Baltimore Gateway Partnership has done. But in addition to that, the concerted efforts between community leaders and local elected officials to make the Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative a reality. And naturally, I'd also be remiss if, as his representative, I didn't mention, once again, cough, cough, all the federal funding that is going to this project. And lastly, and probably what I would argue to be most important, and I say this not only as Senator Van Hollen's Baltimore City Regional Director, but also as a young woman who grew up in Baltimore, Brooklyn being one of those communities, that he recognizes the importance of access for communities like Brooklyn, like Curtis Bay, like Westport, and like Cherry Hill to not have access not just to a waterfront. What we see here is a waterfront, right? But a beautiful waterfront, a resilient waterfront that communities like these have long not have had the access to. So once again, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all of the partners. And I know that Senator Van Hollen is looking forward to seeing the Reimagine Middle Branch's continued progress. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Right. Next, we have Ray Conway, Acting District Director for Congressman Mfume.
Good morning. Thank you, Brad, for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ray Conway. I'm the Acting District Director for Congressman Mfume. Congressman Mfume sends his deepest regrets that he could not be here. You've heard it twice before that the House is in session at the moment, voting on some extremely important legislation. And so thank you to the captain of Team Maryland, Senator Ben Cardin, our colleagues in the Senate, the appropriator, Senator Chris Van Hollen, and of course our colleague, Congressman John Sarbanes, for their leadership on this. It is just really great to be here on the Congressman's behalf for just a few reasons. As a former resident of Curtis Bay, I saw Rodette Jones is here, and I see that colleagues Andrea Mayer are here, and the folks representing the South Baltimore, those community leaders. It is great to be here. The residents of Middle Branch and the surrounding communities, which includes Cherry Hill and Westport and so many others, know the effects of climate change, and they know the real effects that it has on the environment. And understanding the Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative is another example of how federal dollars are driving the effort to protect our precious Chesapeake Bay. As Congressman likes to reiterate, 3 years ago, under the leadership of President Biden with Team Maryland and others, the bipartisan infrastructure bill was passed, which provides a lot of the bulk of funding for this project. and funding that is coming from that legislation. And the congressman, along with his colleagues, are really, really pleased to be able to have fought and secured that funding for all of those deserving communities along that waterfront, which I'm sure the county executive will mention, which includes the beautiful Turner Station community, which Congressman is proud to represent, Ms. Nelson and all of those folks who are here. So again, on behalf of Congressman Mfume, thank you very much, Brad, Southwest Baltimore Partnership. Not Southwest, that's where I live. South Baltimore Gateway Partnership. For everybody who works on that, everybody who is doing that great work to continue to serve these amazing communities. Thank you, everybody.
Next, I'm proud to introduce Rihanna Matthews-Brown, the Chief of Staff for Comptroller Learman, who, as she comes up, I should just say it was Brooke Learman's idea that we should apply for that BRIC grant. She forwarded me an email years ago and was like, Brad, take a look at this. And here we are. So thank you so much for being here on her behalf.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for that introduction, Brad. My name is Rihanna Matthews-Brown. I'm Chief of Staff for Maryland's Comptroller, Brooke Learman. I'm grateful to be here on behalf of Brooke to show our unwavering support and gratitude for the Middle Branch Resilience Initiative. The Middle Branch Resilience Initiative is near and dear to Brooke's heart, a champion of climate resilience with the track record to back it up. The impacted area encompasses the Comptroller's home in Fells Point, and this region was also a part of her district when she served for 8 years as your delegate in the Maryland General Assembly. Over the last several years, Comptroller Learman has served on the Reimagine Middle Branch Advisory Committee, which has secured over more than $40 million in funds for this initiative. The Office of the Comptroller aims to work in partnership to create a state that is more equitable, more resilient, and more prosperous so that every Marylander can reach their full potential. The Middle Branch Resilience Initiative does just that. Through smart, meaningful investments, this project will revitalize the shoreline, reduce flooding, and restore our communities along the Patapsco River. I want to take a moment to congratulate Executive Director Brad Rogers and the rest of the South Baltimore Gateway Partnership for working to secure over $56 million. The job isn't done, but I'm sure that through our combined commitment to success and coalition building, we will seize the moment to strengthen our community. And when our vision comes to fruition, the waterfront should be why visitors come, but the people and communities that they meet here will be the reason that they stay. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Look at this. We got a citation.
You got a citation from Brooke.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Fabulous. Wonderful. And now I am pleased to introduce Mayor Brandon Scott.
Good morning and thank you, Brad. Good morning, everyone. It is such a great day to be here in South Baltimore and be here with so many of our partners. We have the best congressional delegation that a mayor could ask for, so we always say thank you to them. Obviously, we also have the best General Assembly that a mayor could ask for, so thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Delegate. But if you guys didn't notice, the local executives are always prepared for the weather, so you can always find we have a wardrobe change in the car at all times. It's part of being a local city or county executive. But also our community partners, Madam Mayor, thank you for allowing us back in the Cherry Hill. We are here today, truly, because projects like this one are only made possible when we come together. And there have been, as you heard earlier, a lot of moments over the past 3 weeks that many of us have been together, talking about the future of our city, of our county, and our state after a tragedy that none of us could even imagine. But I think it's worth noting that we don't just come together in moments of tragedy. We come together, Mr. Councilman, in moments like this to do things that we know are right, to make sure that our neighborhoods and communities are here for our children and the generations to come. This project is truly remarkable. We know that Baltimore's waterways are one of our biggest assets, and this transformational project is instrumental in building a more sustainable future for not just our city, but our entire region. We in Baltimore are immensely proud to be making such a significant investment through both recreation and parks and with the $5.1 million through DPW Stormwater Enterprise Fund to help move this project forward. Not only does the Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative align with our city's Disaster Preparedness and Planning Project, DP3, if you're in the alphabet acronym soup like us in city government, goes for climate resilience, but it also will protect our waterways, help make our communities healthier, and strengthen all of South Baltimore. This is really about regional teamwork working today for a better future. So I am absolutely confident that we have the right team here to see it through, led by Brad and his team. Brad, thank you for the tremendous work that you guys do each and every day here in South Baltimore. Thank you all for your partnership, and I hope to see you all out on the water in a kayak with me in just short 3 weeks as the weather breaks. Thank you very much.
All right. Next, I am happy to introduce Asia Caraway, Chief of Staff for Councilwoman Felicia Porter.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Office of Councilwoman Felicia Porter, I would like to give a huge thank you to the South Baltimore Gateway Partnership, Mayor Scott, and our state, federal, and local partners for this momentous occasion. Today we gather with the purpose of celebrating a remarkable milestone in our journey toward a more resilient, vibrant, and sustainable future. The Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative stands as a beacon of ingenuity and aligns with our office's commitment to building healthy communities and our unwavering dedication to the people of South Baltimore. In the face of challenges posed by industry and climate change, South Baltimoreans have risen to the occasion with courage and determination. We understand the urgent need to safeguard our environment while enhancing the quality of life for all who call Maryland home. This collective effort is a testament to the power of collaboration across community leaders, business owners, and elected officials. The Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative is more than just a project. It embodies the spirit of resilience and stewardship that defines who we are as a community. Through this work, we have solutions that not only mitigate the harsh effects of climate change, but expand access to economic opportunities and prosperity for generations to come. Together, we have the power to create a world where communities thrive, where ecosystems flourish, and foster a sense of belonging and well-being. Let us work together to seize this moment with courage and conviction, knowing that our actions today will shape the future of tomorrow. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to this remarkable journey. Your passion, dedication, and belief in a better future has brought us to this historic moment. May we continue to walk this path together and strive to build more sustainable and resilient communities for all. Thank you.
Next, on our cavalcade of speakers, we have Baltimore County Executive John Olszewski.
It is well prepared, Felicia, as the mayor would point out. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you today. I just have to say that, if we've learned anything in these past couple of weeks, is just how interconnected our region truly is, and how much we truly have to be each other's keeper. And I have to say, Baltimore County was proud to be a part of this project long before the unfortunate collapse of the Key Bridge. Because it is the right thing to do, and South Baltimore deserves this investment. But we also recognize that there are benefits to Baltimore County as well, and Anne Arundel County, that we share this resource, both in terms of the impact on the Bay, but also in terms of we want to be an interconnected community where we come together and we enjoy both the beauty, but also the natural impact of what these investments mean. So we're very proud to be part of this project. I want to thank all of our partners at the federal, state, and local levels for making it possible. But let's continue to lift each other up not just in this project, but in the days, weeks, and months ahead. And appreciate the opportunity to join you. Thanks so much.
Next, I am proud to introduce Josh Curts, Maryland Secretary of Natural Resources.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here today. I think this is something that our administration is proud to be a partner on. And when we think about resilience and building resilience, the data really shows us and tells us that the most important factor of resilience is social cohesion. That's our ability to work together. And that's why I think partnership is so critical for our ability to build physical resilience for these communities, but long-term sustainability and resilience for our waterways. The Governor Moore, is now the executive chair of the Executive Council for the Bay Program. So that means that Maryland is leading on how we're going to tackle bay restoration. And this project is the absolutely perfect example of what we are looking to achieve. These projects and this project and the string of projects will give us cleaner water. It will give us a better protection for our communities. It will give us habitat. I saw an osprey flying over a minute ago. I was hoping I was going to cue it right now, but I'm not going to be able to do that. But all of those pieces coming together is exactly what we need to see across the region, and especially in our urbanized areas. So we're proud to be a part of this. We're going to continue to play a role as best we can, and look forward to being here once we get to enjoy and see the restored wetlands. So thank you all very much.
Next, we have Baltimore City Department of Public Works Director Khalil Zaid.
Good morning, everyone. Actually glad to be here today to celebrate the official launch of the Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative. I also like to thank our mayor, Brandon Scott, for his leadership and his vision in dealing with all these issues. I also like to thank South Baltimore Gateway Partnership for their continuous efforts to protect our communities, and we look forward for continuous fostering this relationship. At DBW, we're proud to be investing $5.1 million in creating a new constructed wetland within the Midland branch of the Patapsco. We look forward to great things to come from this initiative, and thank you all. Thank you.
Now, I'd like to bring on Meredith Shen from the Greater Baybrook Alliance. Let me grab that. Great.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, the South Baltimore Gateway Partnership, for your vision and your leadership on this project. Thank you for the critical support that we've received from Senator Bill Ferguson, Senator Cardin, County Executive Johnny O, Mayor Brandon Scott, Councilwoman Porter, and Ms. Peggy Jackson Job. Really honored to be here with all of you today. Thank you for inviting me to speak on behalf of the Greater Baybrook Alliance and our efforts to revitalize Brooklyn, Curtis Bay, and Brooklyn Park. This project is not just a huge step forward in environmental restoration, it's also a giant stride towards unified South Baltimore, from Curtis Bay and Brooklyn through Cherry Hill, Westport, and other waterfront communities to Fed Hill and Locust Point. For most of Baltimore's history, the waterfront has mirrored the divisions within our city, divisions born of segregation, industrial misuse, and stark economic disparities. People have used the water and the shoreline for their own purposes, dredging the harbor for shipping on the river basin, allowing the waters to be a dumping ground for industry, and most recently driving investment and redevelopment for tourism in certain segments of the city, while other neighborhoods languished in neglect. The Middle Branch Resiliency Initiative is a unique opportunity to address some of these inequities. As you know, this project will restore a vital ecosystem for fish, birds, and other wildlife, while also acting as natural filters, cleansing our waters of pollutants, and safeguarding our communities against the adverse effects of industrial runoff and urban pollution. Restoring the wetlands also allows South Baltimore residents to become more connected to the Middle Branch shoreline. The Greater Baybrook Alliance is working collaboratively with MedStar Harbor Hospital and the Baltimore Department of Transportation develop a shared use bicycle and pedestrian path that will help Brooklyn and Curtis Bay residents access these beautiful green spaces and our blue vistas. A little gray today, but it's especially important for the 33% of local households that do not own a car. Spending time in nature is healing for our mental and emotional health as well as our physical health. And I believe this project offers a balm to the health of our neighborhoods as well. By working collaboratively with residents, small businesses, and our city and state partners, we are building a South Baltimore where the Middle Branch is not an artifact of divisions, but a vibrant, living ecosystem whose revitalization occurs in tandem with the community. Thank you so much for having me for this project.
Next, it is my extreme pleasure and pride to introduce Peggy Jackson Job, the chair of the Cherry Hill Community Coalition.
Thank you, Brad. Ooh, talk about climate change. My goodness. Good morning, everyone. I greet you and bring you greetings from the Cherry Hill Community Coalition Board and the residents of Cherry Hill. As I thought about this morning what I would say to you, I thought about the first line in the book, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, that says, "This was the best of times, this was the worst of times." Remember the pandemic? The worst of times. There were churches that had to close, and some of them could not open again once the pandemic ended. There were businesses that had to restructure how they would do business and still thrive. There were organizations that had projects that had to be put on the side, and other projects that failed because they could not reimagine, if you will, how to do the work and keep people involved. I am so glad that the Resiliency Project was able to stay together, keep the communities involved, continue to talk to us, whether it was through Zoom or whether it was through Teams or whether it was through surveys, but they continue to keep the work going. And that's why we're sitting here today, to celebrate the wetlands and to celebrate the work. And I think that deserves a big applause. We are so glad, especially Cherry Hill, we can look out our doors and see all of this wonderful work that's going on. And I can tell you that from all that I see and all the planning and all the planners and the grantors and those who work behind the scenes, that this is going to be one of the crown jewels of not just Baltimore, but the state of Maryland. And people are going to come to see what you're able to do when it's teamwork, when individuals come together, and when you're talking to community leaders and the residents within the communities. And there wasn't one time that they did not say, as we're working through the project, what would you like to see in the Reimagine initiative? And so I started with Dickens, but I wanted to end with something that's more in my age category. From McFadden and Whitehead, they had a song, and some of you maybe in your 70s may remember this. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. And we're on the move. So when your friends are talking about it, they're enjoying the things that are going on in this initiative, especially with the wetlands. I want you to be able to say to them, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and the mind cannot conceive the great things that are going to happen or that is happening as a result of this project. And then you say to them, the best is yet to come. Thank you.
That's right. By the way, while we're acknowledging the important role that the residents of Cherry Hill have played in this work, I would be remiss if I didn't also mention one of the founding board members of South Baltimore Gateway Partnership, Mr. Alvin Lee, who is here gracing us with his presence, a founding board member and instrumental in, and has been beating the drum for the Middle Branch this whole time. Lastly, I want to introduce Senate President Bill Ferguson, also the senator from District 46.
So, Brad, you only made one mistake. You put a state senator at the end, and we know how to filibuster. So, in this cold day, I've got about 10 minutes worth of remarks. So, no, in all seriousness, I am so honored to be following such incredible leaders who said it better than I ever could. This is a really, really big deal. And I think sometimes, it's really the glitz and glam of the Inner Harbor or, major development projects out in other parts of the city. What is happening and being launched here today is a really, really big deal. It is an investment to transform a space, to bring people together, to give a vision for hope and what the future can look like in an ever-changing world. If you look at the picture up front here, what you see is a re-engaged, a reimagined, a reignition of the hope that young people and families can have when they can enjoy spaces together. That is fundamentally what is being developed here. And it's easy to see it at this point, right? When the money's already come in, we've got a digger here, we've ordered the supplies and materials. What's a lot harder to see is the months and years before this point that led with organized people finding organized money to change the world. And I just want to give one quick thanks to the South Baltimore Gateway Partnership, because a lot of people complain. A lot of people talk about, we should be doing this differently. We should be doing that differently. Imagine if we could just use the water more or figure out something. But it takes a lot of hard work every single day to execute, to bring partners together, to find the right people to do the job. And thank you to Brad. Thank you to Jeff Washington. I haven't seen if Jeff is here, to Thamar Long, the new board chair of the South Baltimore Gateway Partnership. This entity was created with flexible dollars and is so unbelievably unique. It was an idea that was hatched by a few people that if we could take these casino dollars and not just use them for little grants here and there, but really think about how can we change the world? How can we re-envision places and spaces to invest in people so that they can maximize their God-given potential? Today, that is what we are celebrating. I am so grateful to each and every one of you. I'm sorry, one last thing I do want to just mention. The city partners, our state partners, our federal partners, our course, everything. I just want to give a special shout out to the county executive of Baltimore County. It takes courage and vision to see that a space that is not necessarily in your own jurisdiction matters for your jurisdiction, because we are stronger together. And I just want to give a special thanks again to the county executive for his continuous belief in regionalism and the power of partnership. With that, thank you to each and every one of you that are here today. This is truly what Baltimore's best looks like, and it's an honor to be able to do this job in service to the people of South Baltimore and the state of Maryland. Thank you so much.
Believe it or not, we've run out of speakers. So thank you all so much for joining us here today to celebrate this incredible milestone, to commemorate this event, and the many, many people who made it happen. We're actually going to be installing a plaque in the final constructed landscape so that everyone can remember that it was the people who are here today who helped make this happen. And to celebrate today, we're going to be actually taking some photographs, starting but not limited to the speakers today. So if we could begin to gather over here the speakers, then others of you can come join who have been a part of this process. We want to make sure everyone has a chance to be acknowledged and remembered. Thank you so much.